Hi, this is Mark with Brown Works, and I did a little video a while back about this Beretta UGB25 Xcel. I'll put a link to that in the description or something. But this is an interesting shotgun in that it's not a normal 12 gauge shotgun. It's a combination of a break open and a semi-automatic 12 gauge shotgun. So taking it apart there's a couple little idiosyncrasies about it that might be difficult if you haven't done it a lot. So we're just going to break it down, do a field stripping, and then put it back together so that you can see all the little pieces and parts, what you need to do to take it down. All right. So first thing is we're going to take off the foregrip, because we need to remove that because it gets in the way of some pieces. So there's the lever on the bottom of it. Pull it up. That's going to release the front end of it. Lift that up and take that, put that on the side. Okay. Now if you turn it on to, this is its left-hand side. There's a little lever, there's a pivot pin here that needs to come out. And you are going to need the tools that Beretta supplies. This is mainly used for pushing out this pivot pin. And you're also going to need this small punch in a couple different places. Okay, so we're going to try pushing out this pivot pin here. I usually go from the right to the left and then put it back in from the left to the right. I don't think it really matters on this one. Okay, now this lever here is to open up the action. There's no pivot pin in there right now, but you'll see there is this little arm. This little arm here that attaches, and there's a little lever here that you can pull up on, and it releases that lever. Okay, so that's the first little thing to break these two into two parts, is make sure, take the pivot pin out and this little lever to remove from this. This actually controls the breech block inside to move it back and forward when you're breaking open the action here. Okay, we can put this on the side. Okay, the next thing to take out is going to be the trigger group. And there is a pin. It's kind of right in front, right at the top of the trigger group. And again, you can use this small punch to push that through. The other way. And if that doesn't do it, I usually use a different punch than theirs to get that pin out. Let me grab my other punches, because this is a little bit bigger. Okay, that's good. Alright. So that pulls that pin out. Maybe I should pushed it through a little bit better. Okay, needs another little tap there. goes. All right. So the trigger group pulls, it kind of opens up on a hinge. There's no pin back here, but it comes out. Hinge-wise. See if I can get this up out of here. There it goes. So it actually hinges up and comes forward because it sits in this little groove here. So sometimes it's the bear getting out. Okay. Now the next piece is to get the breech bolt assembly out. Okay. And that is where you will need this little tiny punch. And on the left hand side there's this little hole here. This punch goes in the hole and you'll push down until you hear a click, and then that releases the breech block, or the breech block assembly. So here's that assembly. Okay. I'm going to put this paper down, towels down, because it's a little easier to see here. Okay, so this assembly, there's several other pins in here that you can take this apart even further, but really you only need to take out one more piece, and this is the black piece. Okay, and there's a little hole here that what you need to do, you need to take it and hold and put it on its left hand side. Okay, you want to put your punch through the hole on this side, and you actually need to, you're going to need to push in on this on the breech, on the face here, until it goes all the way back. Push in that hole, and you're going to see a tiny little pin drop out of this side. So you pull this back out, and then this piece will come out. Be careful, because there are small parts in here. This little tiny pin is what popped out. See if you can get really tiny. Also, what's in here, there's a little retainer here that holds the firing pin in place. You want to make sure you don't lose that. Okay. And then you have the spring on the firing pin. And that's usually as far as I break it down to do my cleaning. Okay. And then you'll put the spring back on. See, this little pin, it actually rides in this hole. It only sticks out a little, like a millimeter or two. Okay, it's a little bit wider than here. And it rides in this little slot inside here. So, to get everything back together, you will make sure this little retaining bushing, it's like a little plastic piece. You will make sure the rounded side goes in, down. You can use the little tool to make sure it's in position. And then you will make sure the firing pin, you know, keep the spring on here, make sure the firing pin goes through that and then through a little hole. And you will push the face all the way back and insert the pin on this side until it drops down. It just drops down, and then that's in there. Now, if you're holding this and manipulating it, sometimes a little pin will fall out and you won't know where, unless you know what it's for, you won't know where it came from. But it's just sitting in there. It won't fall out while it's in the firearm because this rides inside, so it's not going to fall out. Okay. So that's it for that piece. So, okay, to go into reverse, we want to make sure, one, this lever is pushed forward. Now this lever has like a little groove in it. That's got to be captured, this little knob here. But what we're going to do, we're going to make sure that that works. There's a little track inside here, and these rails are going to ride in that track. So you want to make sure to put it back in. Make sure these rails go in that track. First thing. Now this little tail, there's a little receiving hole that this tail needs to go in. So you need to make sure that that gets lined up. So pushing this back. Okay. Now, like I said, this little receiving arm here, got to make sure that that is working, as well as that's in the hole in the back. Okay, and then once it's in and it snaps into place, okay. Okay, so if everything's in position there, this will be in a forward position. That will be moving around there. Okay. So now that we got that, now we can put the trigger group in. Again, in reverse, this back end needs to go in first. And again, it's going to go in, slide in, and down. So we'll put in the back end, slide it in, and push up on the front. Have its retaining pin. We can make sure that that's in good. Okay. And what we do, put it so its left side is sitting up. And we're going to put the barrel back on. We're going to try to line up where the pivot pin goes. Line that up. Sometimes that is bare to get lined up. Get in there. And it'll slide right in. Okay. Last thing is this little controlling arm needs to go over top this little raised pin here. So to do that, you're going to lift up. That's going to depress that pin there. And you're going to push the release lever here. That's going to push this lever forward. And then pull the barrel down a little bit, line up so that connects. So now we're connected. Okay. Then we can put the foregrip back on. Back end first. Snaps in. Snaps right together. Lever should release it. If you want to dry fire them, I've dry fired it before. The Beretta suggests you use a snap cap. So we're going to put one of those in. And Make sure it works. Okay. So that's the field stripping, disassembly, and reassembly. Beretta really doesn't recommend you taking down much more. There are other roll pins exposed that if you have to replace some parts, you can do that. But that's usually what I do to take it down, to clean it and put it back together. So again, if you want to see more of our firearms in the future, please subscribe. And I thank you for watching. So bye for now.